I would describe Pablo Davis as a very friendly community.
I like it's very peaceful. They have a lot of amenities, and it's kind of away from the beaten path from where I'm from. So I like it. Yeah.
This is the nicest place for any senior to live. It's very nice. I said it's like family here. I said everybody looks out for each other, and you couldn't want a friendlier place.
Pablo Davis is an 80-unit senior multifamily rental development in Southwest Detroit. Bridging Communities is a local nonprofit. They're the sponsor.
My name is Phyllis Edwards. I am the Executive Director for Bridging Communities located in Southwest Detroit. I believe that all people are entitled to pursue their dream of whatever that is of happiness, and that there are some basic needs among all folks that is needed: housing, education, transportation, mobility, recreation. I like the fact that we're advocating for quality housing for everyone, and senior living needs to. We're advocating that it be changed, that you have maybe independent living on one floor, assisted living on another, and long-term care on the other, so that people get to stay in their own neighborhoods around people that they've known and grown up with and aged in place with.
My name is Maria Schechter, and I think I'm one of the longest residents that have been living here. What attracted me to Pablo Davis was the fact that we were allowed to garden. We have garden boxes out back, raised garden boxes. That attracted me because I said, oh good, I can grow veggies, I can grow flowers, I can putter in the soil, I can weed, keep myself busy, and that's what I've been doing all these years.
Pablo Davis is a LIHTC property. It was developed and its 15 years had ended, and we were re-syndicating the property. And so we were looking for the most efficient ways to ensure that the property was sustainable through the years to come. One, cut energy costs, provide clean energy to the residents, and to really minimize the amount of energy we were using in that building. With the new appliances, the new HVAC system, the solar roof, the windows, and doors, we were able to meet that.
They came in, they gave us all new appliances, which are energy efficient. They, remodeled the whole inside of our apartments, each apartment, as well as the whole building.
The energy renovations that they did here at Pablo Davis, I was quite impressed. I was quite impressed with the solar system that they put on the top of the building.
We looked up at all those panels and said, wow, we had talked about this years ago. And it finally came to light. If we had a house, would we do it? Yeah, we would do it in a minute. So for it to happen was like a miracle.
I know it affected the heat, I think, and the electricity.
The changes in the energy, the windows made a big difference. The doors made a big difference. I noticed that in the wintertime, there wasn't as much of a draft.
It's very important to have clean energy in any community.
The Detroit office of the Local Initiative Support Corporation funded a grant to do the energy analysis, which eventually led to all the energy improvements. And those energy improvements were forecasted to save about $35,000 a year in utilities. And we're 1 year into it, and the savings have been about $34,000. So it's pretty much on the mark.
So essentially, we're looking at even the building envelope, the insulation in the building as well. And the first thing we do is benchmark the building. So that is looking at the utilities. We look at electric, natural gas, and water, and we identify how much the facility is using, how much it's costing the facility. We also look at how much it's costing the tenants, right? There's a split here. The tenants pay some of the utilities and the owner pays some. That's the first thing we do. So we benchmarked the building and we identified it as poorly performing, right? So it was below average. Then we take that information and then we do a walkthrough of the building and we look at the heating and cooling system, the ventilation systems, and the lightings, and we document what they are. And we come up with retrofit solutions that will reduce the energy consumption of the building. So some of the most cost-effective energy efficiency items are switching to LED lighting. The second most cost-effective often is the ventilation systems, right? You don't want to have fans blowing constantly. And then we also looked at the boiler systems, insulation in the building, and some of those other items. And then we prepare a report in which we look at how much they were using before and how much they would use with our engineering analysis. And we find the energy savings for these energy saving measures.
Low-income housing tax credit is funding that is made available to ensure that people who are below 60% of the AMI have somewhere to stay. That is funding through the government along with other funding. It's one part of the funding source. And so those properties have to be maintained at affordability for the next 30 years. We were able to get 50 vouchers, Section 8 vouchers, that's place-based, so that will stay there. We were able to work with Cenair and Chase for some additional funding. We worked with the City of Detroit to get home funding. And so as a result of all of the different types of funding, and we work with Michigan, let me say that, to get the light tax credit. And so as a result of that, that's the funding, combination of the funding that we had to do to produce the monies necessary to rehab that property.
I think I can say in my experience, had we not had the vouchers and had we not had that energy analysis, I don't know if we ever could have completed Pablo Davis and put it on good financial footing and done a rehab. It was a rehab of about $4 million for 80 units, and that was very significant.
For us, the impact is huge because I'll just use the Pablo Davis. Without that, we were limited in our resources and our funding. And it was only that energy saving cost that was able to make this project viable. So without that, we wouldn't have made it.
I would urge them to do whatever they could to make it possible financially for a senior citizen to be able to rent an apartment.
I would hope that they would understand, first and foremost, that there is a need and that they should be funding these projects. New energy sources. We can no longer continue to do business as we've done before. The world is changing, and it impacts the lives of seniors, it impacts the lives of residents, of children, and it certainly have restraints on organizations such as Bridging Communities and other developers throughout the city and out this country. And so we really need to begin to infuse this new way of providing energy to residents and organizations and just the community as a whole. Solar is just one aspect of environmental fight that we fight.
Southwest Detroit has a number of different facilities that residents are living in close proximity to, throughout that whole region, oil refinery being the biggest, but that is just one. It's a whole corridor, of environmental toxins. Not to mention the truck idling and the truck traffic, in Southwest Detroit. I think that we're living under 400 plus years of racialized capitalism, 500 years of racialized capitalism. And the racialized capitalism, it is exploiting and killing. And it's exploiting and killing people, and it exploits and kills the earth. But we just can't have that system, that's based on suffering and that's based on the dollar being the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? And there's lots of ways. People are doing it in so many different ways. But, like a garden, a farm, creating a farm, in which you don't need the dollar in the same way to get the food. And so you're teaching people that food comes from the ground, food comes from the work, food comes from this relationship with the ground, and the dollar is supplementary. The dollar is supplementary to that. And so the real solutions is not in the technology per se, but it's in the thought processes. And we can use those technologies, but we have to use them with new thought processes and make sure that they're cooperative, make sure that they're regenerative,